how did this stadium get its name, though? I wanted to sit down, talk about this story a little bit, honor the troops on Memorial Day. Alex Box was a third baseman for the Tigers in the 1930s. He helped LSU win their first SEC baseball title, graduated from LSU, joined the Army, became a first lieutenant in World War II in 1943. He was deployed. He got killed in action at just 23 years old. And of course, LSU honored him by naming the baseball stadium after him. The original stadium opened in 1938, but after his passing in 1943, they renamed it after Alex Box. So shout out Mr. Box, shout out all the families. And as of right now, G, it's a historical site because you got the second regional in 3 years. You got 28 regionals all time. That puts them third in college baseball for the amount of times that they've hosted. Obviously, they're tied for the most natties in terms of 7 with Texas, or it might be Florida State. Either way, number 6 national seed. It all worked out. You had a little bit of fickle fans. You had some people calling out Jay Johnson, the rotation, the offensive schemes. But gee, that's you always got the people on the couch just sitting here saying, "Nah, I got it better. I know what we should do. I know how to put the lineups together. I know who we should throw out there." It don't matter. In 2 weeks, we're gonna have playoff baseball. How you feeling? What's your reaction to this? And do you think LSU could potentially swing their way to Omaha?
I haven't watched LSU baseball fully the whole year. I probably watched a total of maybe 4 to 5 games. I did get a chance to watch the Ole Miss game. I think that was a second time being shut out in the last 4 years. I think one thing that stands out about LSU baseball team is that 1-2 punch with their pitching is just as good as anybody in the country. And when you got 2 pitchers that could take the mound and throw the variations of pitches they can throw and go for as many innings they can go for, and keep people under 2 runs, 3 runs or less, that's usually good enough to win a baseball game. On the flip side of that, I feel like the offensive side is not as good as we're used to seeing at LSU. I think that they have some good hitters, but it's nowhere near what they had 2 years ago with Morgan and all them boys, and Dugas and those guys. I think that they're gonna have to be real strategic on how they get runs. Not in the regional part. I think they'll be fine right there. But when they get to the super regional, if they're fortunate enough to get to Omaha, they're gonna have to be real creative on how to get guys on base. How they, get runs in. Because this is not an offense that I think you're gonna see that's scoring 8, 9, 10 runs. They're gonna be around the 4, 5, maybe 6 runs. They could kind of accumulate throughout this playoffs that they're getting ready to embark on. But I think if they can make a run to Omaha, it's gonna have to be, they're gonna have to rely on the pitching. If they pitching can stand tall, after those 2 studs that they got pitching, I think they could probably go 2, maybe 3 deep in their bullpen. If those guys can play at a high level, LSU is just as good as anybody. And I've always been a believer of, if you got really good, no, not really good. If you got elite pitching, you can make a run, bro. And hopefully they bats are hitting on all cylinders. But we'll see. But I think that the formula to success, bro, I think people and anybody that's watching LSU baseball, they know that 1-2 punch gonna have to play at a high level for them to be able to get to Omaha and have a chance.
I agree. Yeah, shout out to the pitching. It was one of the areas of a little bit of concern last year, I would say. And then you roll into this season, you got Gavin Guidry, who hasn't been able to play yet due to the injury. A lot of people wanted some guys to step up. I believe Anthony Ianson, all your Cade Andersons, guys like that. Yeah, they definitely answered the bell. Gee, Friday at 2 o'clock, you're going to see LSU take on University of Arkansas at Little Rock. And then at 6:30, game 2 will be University of Rhode Island and Dallas Baptist University. Look, people gonna overlook these teams. G, college baseball is different. You don't got to be a big name. You don't got to be a powerhouse.
For sure.
Anything can happen. Ask LSU softball with Southeastern. So this is something that I don't want people to overlook. This ain't gonna be a walk in the park. I'm not gonna lie. But if they advance, they're gonna host that super regional. And like I said, you got 2 weeks of potential playoff baseball in the box. Hopefully, they're gonna be able to shake it out and get it done.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, man, when you got 2 elite pitchers like that, I think they should be fine in the regional. I think they should be fine. I think, we talk about schools like Arkansas, Little Rock, and Dallas Baptist. They haven't seen elite pitching like they about to see when they play LSU. So, Rhode Island either. And then you got to realize the conference that LSU played in, 15 of them 16 teams is good enough to make a run at Omaha.
Yep.
That conference is that good. It's the best in the country. It's not even close.
Not
You know what
even.
I'm saying? So they battle tested, bro. I think they'll be good in regionals.
I'm glad you brought that up, G. Real quick before we hop out of this. Out of the 16 regional sites, 8 of them are SEC teams. Over half of the teams hosting it come from the biggest conference in college sports. So, yeah, battle tested, tried, true, and ready. I'm going to ride with Jay Johnson and the boys. Let's see what they can put together here during this playoff run.
And I want to say this too. I know a lot of fans get on Jay Johnson. If y'all haven't seen and realized what he does every year in the SEC tournament, like that dude don't really care about winning the SEC tournament, bro. Like that's not on his agenda. I mean, if it happens, it's cool to
Right.
add to your accolades. That dude thinking about Omaha, bro. And so
Exactly.
and so the way he puts his lineups, the way he has his pitching rotation, you can tell that he's kind of just mixing and matching, trying to see who we could trust and see who we could rely on once the regional part start and have an opportunity to get to the Omaha, bro. So, LSU fans, I don't know how they haven't caught on to his pattern, but it's so damn funny to me how these fans go so crazy on how he does things when the SEC tournament comes, bro. He doesn't care about winning the SEC tournament. He doesn't care.
And it don't matter, G, because who is going to talk about an SEC title down the road when you could potentially be worried about national championships? Everybody here at this university, they know what the standard is. They know what they're capable of. They know what has happened in the past repeatedly. Shit, in his second year, it happened. All you got to do is keep the main thing, and that's putting rings on fingers. Yeah, the banners, the pennants, all that stuff is cool. They do have some crazy people hopping off on some wild takes. You're hearing people bash on Jay Johnson, talk about he's like Les Miles. They should get rid of him, all this stuff. Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. Second time hosting in 3 years. Let's see what happens. I got
Yeah,
trust in OJ.
they'll
Double
be
J.
fine. They'll be fine.